So you have a problem with
Well, so yeah, so
commissions, and you have a VA
so I've got a
virtual
VA,
assistant. Yeah.
got a virtual assistant, and it's like, does it work? Sure. Does she's there every day, I guess. I mean, she'll send me an email. Please send me a task when you're ready.
Yeah. Right.
And so I might get her a certificate of insurance once a day, maybe. But but when it comes to like the specifics of like, oh, you need CG form 2048, like, she doesn't know that stuff.
Yeah.
So like I ended up just doing it. Or, like, oh, I need renewals. Like one thing that I have them do is create a reference sheet. So that reference sheet will let somebody uh, it'll have all my contact information on it. It'll have their policy number, all of those types of things.
Yeah.
To me, that's something that nobody else is doing. You've got everything in one sheet. Here's all of your policy information.
That's good.
But
But how do you give that to somebody else to
right.
do? Like, it's one thing if you have somebody in the office helping you out, but then a virtual assistant, I just can't wrap my head around how that works.
So then I'm at this other point to where, okay, so now I've got the VA, but and I've got a heck of a practice on the commercial side. I don't really do any individual insurance,
Yeah.
but I'm at the point to where the renewals for the commercial side are coming in so hot and heavy that one, it's almost like I'm having to resell them, but then two, there's a management portion of it. So do I bite the bullet and hire an account manager?
Right.
And then that would definitely replace the VA.
Right. Because they would be.
But I need that account manager to know these accounts the way I know these accounts, to where, you're on hold for 20 minutes trying to figure out their billing issue.
And the only way you're going to find somebody like that is if you actually have an employee.
You have to have an
They're going to
employee,
be in-house. I mean,
in-house employee, and
doing it.
in this market, I think I don't know if it's like 25 plus bucks an hour.
I don't know about that. More, you can probably get away with 16 to 18 for an assistant. And
Well,
then
so I was kind of thinking like,
you train the assistant to get to that point. So, I mean, no one comes in as an account manager and just knows what they're doing.
sure,
People can say that on the resume. I put a thing on Indeed. I got 100 applications.
yeah.
But for what? Half of them don't even have the qualifications, and the other ones that say they do, when you talk to them, it's like, how do you are you serious? So it's like,
So I was kind of thinking like
kind of need to train
building someone
somebody.
up, right? And so like you bring in that admin assistant, they work with you, and then you start handing them like peel off an account, peel off an account, peel off an account.
You get them licensed, you get them, up and running on it. But before they get licensed, they have to, they work the business and they answer the phone and they talk to the people and they figure things out. And then once they get to a point where they're understanding it, you get them licensed, and then start letting them take over some of it, or have them as an LOA agent where they're just working your book.
Mhm.
And you're paying them that plus a little commission.
Well, I mean, there's
I mean, you're
there's
not-
so much that could be done with I'm literally 92% commercial,
Right.
which means I'm covering a tremendous amount of businesses that have employees and that have people.
Right. There's a
And
lot of
so
moving parts.
There's a lot of moving parts, but there's also a tremendous amount of cross-sell opportunity.
Yeah.
Because any one of those businesses, we could walk in and say, the way for attracting and retaining your long-term employees to build your business
Yeah.
is to make sure that they're properly insured and help them with home ownership, right?
Right.
So I could partner with anybody and say, here's my mortgage guy. He's going to help your employees buy a house.
Right.
That way now they're handcuffed to, in a good way,
Yeah.
handcuffed to that commitment.
The golden handcuffs.
Right.
They
And
keep
so
people in
then,
jobs.
yeah. And so then we could come in and say, okay, so now we're also going to sell them all their home and auto insurance or their renter's insurance or even their life insurance. I mean, there's
Right.
so many different opportunities.
Right. On the commercial side, once you have a client on that, you technically become like ADP where they're just cross selling
Almost,
everything.
yeah.
You're just not running the payroll.
Right. And so then I guess I'm in that fork in the road, right?
Like- You can't do it all yourself,
right.
and you need some help.
So
But
I've got
Do you bring on an agent? Do you bring on a VA?
Exactly.
What do you bring on for that?
So I've got you. You're my good buddy, and I've seen you build a team.
Slowly,
I've
yes.
seen you slowly build a
Slowly
team.
build a team.
You've brought in agents. You've trained them up. You have weeklies. All of those types of things.
And it took time to get to this point.
Sure.
So I mean, it's not like it just happens.
But then I have a buddy in California to where him and his wife are basically like solo practitioners, and
Yeah.
they've built more of an admin team around them
Right.
so that they can go and sell. So can you do both?
You can do both. Just agents that joined our team have asked for information that I've helped, and then we've slowly gone back and forth, and I've helped people transition to becoming an agent. There's a lot of training in that, which is good though. But then my assistant actually got hired on, to be an assistant, administrative assistant at the office. Eventually, she got licensed, and now she can take over some of my agent duties with the clients because she's a licensed agent now. So
once that person gets licensed, I think there's a lot more conversations that they can have and opportunities.
right, they can talk more in depth about the products with the clients versus just taking down the basic information. And you start somebody off at an admin pay, and then you have the opportunity to increase them as they get better. But if you start somebody off at the top and they don't, does that mean you get to decrease that? No, no one wants.
No, you never go backwards.
No,
It's
so
like the government. You never
Right.
downsize.
you never downsize. So at that point, you start somebody off at a certain point that you can afford and you can make it work. Maybe it's part-time until they get up and running and they're really taking stuff off your plate. Once you can slowly start giving stuff to them to do, take it off your plate, which gives you more time to go pursue other things, like your friends with the admin side. I have honestly, I'm sorry you're not my agent, but my farmer's agent, he's the agent, and you go in his office and there's like 5 people in there,
Yeah.
and they're captive agents that work for him that build. So I don't know what their
They have a
comp
very
is.
interesting model, and in fact, I looked at the farmers model, at least here in Arizona, and it was very much centered around. They call it almost like the doctor's office, to where you go and like you see the nurse,
Right.
and the nurse does all the vitals, and then you go in and you might talk to like a physician's assistant.
Right.
And that physician's assistant's like, okay. And then on your way out, when you're getting your prescriptions, you're actually talking to the doctor, and you see the doctor for 5 to 7 minutes, and
Right.
then they, hustle you at the door, and you schedule your next appointment. So that's very much the farmer's model, but for a lot of different reasons, that works, and that's that kind of
It does work.
that foundational. And I've gotten to the point to where, do I back off on my new sales,
That's a tough one. Right.
protect my base,
Yeah.
and you bring in a personalized person, bring in an admin person who can manage those accounts? Like,
I'd bring in an admin person first
Mm-hmm.
before you do anything, and then just putting out in the world that you're looking to bring on agents, and eventually people will see the work you do and want to be part of that and want to join the team. So the majority of my agents on our team know me from the senior group.
Mm-hmm.
And then a couple of them are know me from funeral insurance. They do pre-need for other companies, and they want to be part of
What you're doing.
what I built, and what we're doing. So they got their health license as well, and now they're coming out and doing that. But the like I said, I put it on Indeed, and I get everybody clicks on everything in Indeed, and you get 100 applications within a day. And that means diddly,
Right.
right? Because then you have to run through them all and categorize them, and then see what's worth it. And then they don't even show up for interviews. So, I mean, is it even worth it at that point for doing that? Not really.
So you, as a business owner, should I be networking to find to recruit people the same way that I network and recruit to find new business?
It's shaky.
Is it shaky?
I saw it.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, it's moving. It's
Oh,
the ghost.
man, that's the ghost of Insurance Bros past.
Yes.
It is shaky.
I
I think it almost does become that, like a recruit type
just-
of thing, like same way you do for new business. Hey,
right. Same way you
looking for
do for
this.
new business.
and then it's also like a manifestation of here's what I want. Here's my ideal person. Here's
Right.
my ideal situation.
Yeah, I mean, you have to go networking, yes, but networking for your work, and then hopes that somebody wants to join what you do because they see you enough, and they're like, I can do this.
Yeah.
And then they become part of it. Or it's the other route. It's you bring on an admin, and you slowly train them, and they get to a point to where they can become an agent, and then you kind of relinquish some of yours, and then you bring on another admin
Yeah.
and slowly
And have
train
them
them.
train them.
Right, and so you just kind of go that route, and as the admin trains
That's what
the
my
other
wife
one,
says.
eventually you're just training admins, but then they turn into agents, and then you can go out and market, more business for everybody, and the business is coming into the company, and your admins are now admin agents. They're handling it.
Here's what I think I really need. I'm going to say this
Say it
pretty
out
clear.
loud.
I'm going
Yeah.
to say it out into the universe
Put it out there.
and see where it ends up. I need a part-time mom who maybe is at home with the kids. They haven't quite left for school.
Yeah.
They're smart enough to be able to pass a test, want to own their own business, make a little bit of money. But once their kid like really gets into school, then they have the opportunity to really cash it in. It could be a dad too. I'm not going to discriminate.
Yeah, no, it could be a dad.
But I think that would be an ideal person. Someone who's looking for part-time,
Right.
who eventually wants to grow into a role to where it becomes their own.
Right. And and I love part-time agents that want to just learn, get it done, become an agent, and slowly transition from their full-time. And I have a handful of agents that have done that, worked full-time and then done this part-time, but then the more they put out into the world that they do Medicare and funeral insurance, the more calls they get.
Yeah.
So I'm like, just keep doing it. By the second year in, they're just dropping those cards now, the business card for the insurance, to everybody, because they like when somebody calls them on that one, because that's their money.
So it's interesting that you say that, because that's one of the things that I'm almost in disbelief as, even now, like 4 years into an agency ownership, to where I get a phone call where it's like, hey, my friend gave me your number.
Yeah.
Or, what I would call like the repeat business of hey, you help me with your business or with my business. I'm working on something here. Can you help me with this? Like
Right.
to where it's building and compounding. And to me, I find that amazing.
Yeah.
But I think that that's that natural inertia that I never got working for anybody else.
No. I mean, well, you work for somebody else, you rep their brand, right?
Right.
Good, bad. I mean, I have agents repping my brand too. So yes, there's good and bad in all of that. But I worked for New York Life and I repped their brand, and their brand brought me business.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's a good thing, but at the end of the day, it's the person. So you rep yourself, and the brand gives you a little bit of play into the field, little warm connections. It just depends on how you look at it. If you go and rep somebody else's brand and your name at the same time, you're building up yourself with the brand, and then you can start your own agency. You know, but if I could still be with New York Life, I would. They have a strict 3-year training period, and if you miss a number, you're out. I only did 2 years with them, and I didn't make it. So I mean, but it was really good education, and if I could still be there, I would be, because I mean, New York Life,
Yeah.
it's a great brand. So Arizona Medicare is my brand now, Arizona Medicare Insurance Solutions, and I put it out there and I market that, and then agents want to come in and join that brand, and then they market it. So then everybody's marketing the one, and it's building and building and building. So, you know, you get people in that want to do that, be part of something bigger than themselves.
Yeah, and I tried to bring in a personal lines rep, and I think I've shared this story with you before. I don't know if I've ever said it on the air, but I'll say it. I don't really care. Where it costs money to have an agent.
It costs money to have an agent.
Yeah, it does, and that's an investment. And I think what I didn't anticipate is to bring on this agent for whatever reason. It took me like 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
And to rep the brand, I said, hey, let's do this. Let's give you a title. Let's give you to make you sound important, right?
Yeah.
And it was used against me. It was, hey, I don't think that the director of personal lines should be doing this much paperwork. And in which I replied back, well, the two things. One, paperwork is the job.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of paperwork.
And it's a title I made up. So you either want to work or you don't.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to.
If you want somebody to spoon feed you, then this is not the job for you.
Well, you know what? So here's the thing. It almost is a spoon-fed thing.
Well, right.
Because there is a tremendous amount of cross-selling opportunity. But again, you have to earn that.
You have to earn it. And we get a lot of call-ins to our office. I do a lot of, branding and marketing, and then those that come in, I try to roll over to agents to help them, new agents to help them get up and running. Sure. And then usually older agents don't need that because they have enough of their own referrals coming in. But, you kind of want somebody that wants to go out and do the job. If they just, I had somebody ask if they could work for me, but they just wanted to stay at home and just take in leads. I'm like, if you want to.
Sure, me too.
I'm like, that sounds great. I go, if you want to do that, then, you can be a captive agent and I give you 50% commission.
Well, I mean, to me, it kind of is one of those things where like.
Well, at that point, it's like people are like, well, why can't I get the full pay? I'm like, well, because I'm bringing in all the leads and you're just.
Yeah.
I'm spoon feeding you at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like a baby bird situation. Like every time the mama shows up, baby birds got their mouths wide open.
I mean,
but eventually you got to kick them out of the nest and they got to go hunt on their own.
Right. It's one thing if you bring in an admin assist that slowly grows and learns with you and appreciates what's coming in. and they're fine with a salary plus a little commission. You know, it's another thing to, you know, just be. And then I know agencies that just have captive agents. It's not even an assistant. It's like I bring you on, 50% commission of everything, and you just work all my leads. So I mean that's a possibility too. It's just some people are okay with that. Some people aren't okay with that. The one guy wasn't okay with that. He wanted more. I'm like, well, if you want more, you want the full amount, then you need to go out and find those leads.
Yeah.
It just depends on what you want to do.
Yeah, you got to generate that.
You gotta generate it. Yeah. I mean, I'll introduce you to people. I'll help you out, but at the end of the day, you got to cultivate and generate. So I mean, it's a different person that wants to go out and build their own business.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Well, I know, I appreciate your perspective on this, and you had a great idea, because we were just kind of sitting here chit chatting about, hey, what should we talk about? And you said, hey, let's push record. This is good stuff, and
good stuff.
I agree, because I had brought you a situation in which, hey, I'm at a crossroads with my business, with my insurance business, doing gangbusters. Right?
Stuff, yeah.
But you're almost on that cusp of can't afford an admin person, dying on the vine because I'm too busy.
Yeah.
And so you got to find that medium right there.
You know, and some people will work part-time. So, I mean, you could put it out there, part-time work, and pick up somebody to come in and answer the phones at least.
Yeah.
And do some of that paperwork, and that's just part of their job. You just write up the job description, and that's part of the job, and they do that. If they want, you know, a raise, then be like, well, if you want a raise, then I need you to get your license.
I had a sales manager. I asked for a raise one time. You know what he told me? Go sell more.
Go sell more. Yes, that's exactly it. I have, you know, people to say that I need, you know, more money in the office. I'm like, that's great. Sell funeral insurance. You get your license. It costs $180 to the state to get your license, and sell funeral insurance. We're at a funeral home. People are coming in. We talk about funeral insurance all day long to see if they have it.
Do it.
Those are warm leads. Just offer it to them and sell it. You want to make more money? This is how you make more money.
Yeah.
This job here is just a base pay. Like I told you about my buddy, when we started with insurance, he got a job at a golf resort, being a waiter, and you know what? And that was enough to pay the bills. But he used insurance because he wanted more money. He wanted to raise. He wanted to grow and build. So he did sales for that. So yeah, you have a job at the funeral home, but if you want to raise, you need to sell insurance, sell something.
Yeah.
Like, and we have an insurance company right in the office. Like, all you have to do is go work with them and work with us, and on the insurance side, and now you can make as much money as you want. You know, but it's, and I got one of the guys, one of the office staff took, you know, was like, I can do that. I'm like, absolutely. So he did it, and he sells insurance, and now he makes a little money on the side, and you know, and so that's good. But it's finding the people that want to do that versus the people that just like the idea.
Well, I mean, that goes with the whole thing of like where you put the Indeed job out there and you put $50,000 to $100,000, and you know, all of a sudden it's like, well, this is commission only, and then tumbleweeds start blowing in your front door.
Everybody just wants that.
Everybody wants the end result.
Right, the end result, and it's a tough one to get. But yeah, if you want to make more money, go sell something.
Absolutely.
Or pick up a side job. You know, we talk about insurance sales, but you know, I see junk collector signs everywhere I go. I mean, and go do that. Go pick up somebody's garbage and make a couple bucks if you need money. You know, I mean, everything out there. There's people charging to move their trash cans back into the garage from the street. Like, are you kidding me? Somebody's like, oh yeah, $25.
The one I always laugh at is the dog pooper picker upper.
The dog pooper, yeah. They will come and pick up your dog poop.
I finally broke down and hired a pool guy.
Yeah, I just can't do that one yet. But
Yeah, no, I will tell you this. That was totally worth it. The pool guy.
I imagine. I mean,
I-
if it's always clean and
It's always clean.
it's like $100 a month or 200
Yeah,
bucks.
it's like 120 bucks
20.
a month. But like it means that I don't have to go down and talk to the like bring a cup of water to the pool guys and they, do the whole thing. Like I just walk out there and it's done. But that was that was a perk of like, okay, you've kind of made it here.
right.
You're going to let someone else clean this.
You know what? I like on the weekends to get out there and vacuum it up, and I've never actually done that chemical stuff before. If it looks a little green, I just pour a ton of shock
just
in
throw,
there.
throw some tabs in there.
Just a few more tabs. It's fine.
Fine.
If it's got enough chlorine in it, whatever.
My eyes are burning, Dad. Ah.
Everyone's like, I don't want to go swimming in that cesspool. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's great in here.
Yeah, have you ever
Like-
been to the Salt River?
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Well,
but
I appreciate your perspective in the
I don't know. It's a tough one,
the
right?
fork roads of the fork roads. Is that a thing? The fork in the road
Right.
of where do you go when you are at that
You know what I
insurance agency stage?
one I met with my broker above me.
Mm-hmm.
He has a big agency, national company and stuff, and like last year I was just overwhelmed with training agents and getting things and creating training for them, so I didn't have to keep doing it and information and stuff. And I'm like, when do you switch over from agent to
Well, I mean, it's the whole thing of
He's like, yeah.
of work in the business versus on the business.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and he was just like, you know what? He's like, I still write some. He's like, but a lot of it is just, he's like, you don't really know. He's like, but in the beginning, you're between a rock and a hard place because you're trying to grow something, but you need to keep working.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you do? And how do you afford that?
Yeah.
So you just kind of just do and hope for the best in the beginning.
There is no try.
There
only
is no
do.
try.
Thank you,
only do.
Yoda.
Yeah. So I was
Awesome.
I'm like, well, that's not helpful at all, but thank
Yeah,
you.
thanks for nothing. Sign here.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, I think that this has been a super informative perspective conversation. I appreciate you sharing your experience on that.
Yeah.
I think that it holds true in any business is, and this seems like a very much like we should have a guest on this topic of like, how do you know when your business is healthy enough to hire
Yeah.
an individual? What does that look like?
Bring on help.
Do I
Like, what do you
need
do?
to have so much money in the bank? Do I need to make sure that I've got X amount of revenue coming in the door?
I think it's like having kids, right? Because everyone's like, well, now's not a good time to have kids. I don't have enough money saved
Is
up.
there ever a good
Now's
time?
not enough good time to have kids because my work is crazy. Now's not a good time, and all of a sudden you have a kid and you're like, oh crap, now's not a good time, but I have to do this.
Right.
So like, I had a
That's a
daughter
really good
just
analogy.
out of the blue, and I was like, what? Then you make adjustments.
Well, you know what? There's
In
nothing
life.
like hiring someone who can grow up to resent you as well, just like your kids.
Yeah, I know, right? So I mean, it's just there's no good time. It's just you just do it, and you like when you started the business on your own. It wasn't a good time to do it then.
No, it was not.
I mean, you're out on your own. You're building your own commission. You have to hustle. So, but then you get a little comfortable in that field, and then you're like, well, I want to grow a little bit more, but how do I do it? Well, how you did it last time was you just did it, and you hustled to
You
make
had
it
to.
happen. So if you want help, you need to just hire somebody and then hustle
Figure it
to
out.
figure out how you're going to pay that person.
Yeah.
But once you get to that point, you just if you just do it, it'll work itself out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's really insightful, because when I started my agency, there was no. Here's what's rough to say: there wasn't anything where it was like, I think I'll start an agency. Let's put some planning together. No, it was like, hey, this is COVID. You don't have a job with a corporate structure anymore, and if you don't want to die and be homeless, you better figure this out.
Right.
And so, I mean, I don't think it's as extreme as it is back then.
Yeah, I don't think
But
mine wasn't that extreme.
But basically, it's how much personal income, I guess, am I willing to sacrifice to either, one, make an investment in growing this business, or two, get some help.
Right. I mean, and you made an investment in growing your business to get to this point,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because you had to take a little bit of haircut in the beginning,
Yeah.
and now you're at that point again.
I haven't had a haircut since 2005.
I keep hoping that it grows back, but
I gave
it keeps
my
growing backwards further.
I gave my 8-year-old a Ronaldo last night.
Oh.
Yeah, we were gonna go to a haircut place, and taking 3 boys to go get haircuts. And I thought, holy crap, this is gonna cost me like $100.
Yeah.
And we got there, and it was like a 30-minute wait.
No.
And I was like, nope, we're gonna do this in the backyard. So my wife's out of town.
Come on
So
out.
I lined them all up and
Just shaved it.
started shaving.
Yeah.
I think the older one, he asked for a mohawk.
Did you give it to him?
I gave him kind of a rat tail type of thing. And then he saw it in the mirror and he was like, "Can you clean that up a little bit?"
Can you just shave that off, Dad? Yeah, sure, I'll give you a mohawk. Oh, dang it, I put it right down the middle.
Oh man. But the other ones came out nice. They call it the Ronaldo. It's like a part right here, and it just kind of flops over.
Well, that's nice.
When I was a kid, it was like a flock of seagulls. Just
right?
covered your eyes, and you hated stuff.
And you just kind of hit
I
stuff.
hate it. I hate it.
I hate it. I remember my brothers got the bowl cut in high school, where like you shaved here down, and then on the top you just let it grow. That 90s.
I tell my kids now, take care of your hair, otherwise it'll disappear. But I think that I don't think that I deserved hair. Meaning, like, I never knew how to comb it. I look back and, like, at some point, like, I had it spiked and pushed forward with like a
my gosh!
with
I
one
had
of those.
wavy, thick hair back when I had hair.
In
It was
high school,
awesome.
I think I parted it down the middle in 2 waves like that. Like, man, it just never.
It's never worked out for you.
Oh well.
This works out pretty good for you, though,
Perfect. I love it.
right? It's so
Yeah.
much cooler in the summer.
It is extremely cooler. The beard gets hot though.
Beard does get hot.
Yeah.
It gets in my way at night too when I'm sleeping.
Oh my gosh.
It's
Mine
like,
too.
Just catches on things.
Yeah, no, like it gets stuck in my armpit, and then like when I
Yeah.
roll over.
Like, I wake up and it's like stuck on something.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, I think I'm gonna invent. I've got an idea for like 2 inventions.
something that holds it in.
Yeah, like when you go and see like everyone working in the butchery department at Costco, they have like one of
the
those.
hairnet on their beard.
You want to hear my other invention?
Yeah.
Nobody can steal it. Don't steal it.
Don't steal it.
It's called the T-Skim.
T-skim.
Going back to the pool,
Oh.
right?
Right.
So all this dust and little leaves and everything, and you put a net in between the armpit, and then you can just
Just walk around.
walk around. And
That's brilliant.
thank you,
Yes.
thank you. Yeah, and
You
then
should do that.
I'm going to,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna put a logo on it,
There you go.
and it'll become a white elephant gift.
You know what I hear is good is if you get a Mr. Clean eraser and put it in the skimmer.
I saw the video
You
on
saw that one where
Yeah,
it cleans up the oil and stuff?
yeah.
So you could do like a Mr. Clean eraser across your chest and then the T-skim and then
Ooh.
just clean the whole thing
That
up.
guy put copper pieces in there too
I saw that.
for algae. Yeah.
You know what? I actually put copper pieces in the dog's watering dish.
Really?
Yeah, it's got that constant flow.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
it's got a little filter in it, but I put that in it, and you know what? Hasn't had any scum in there since I've been doing it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I have chickens. Maybe I should try that for the chickens because I'm constantly scrubbing algae out.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but
It's gotta
I
be
saw
some
that
chemical.
thing, and so I just dropped them in,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't really get dirty. Clean it out once a month, but I mean it
Yeah.
doesn't get as dirty as it was.
Dog water bowl grosses me out.
Yeah. You have to get those ones that like the drinking fountain ones. They just have a little pump in it and they constantly run
Oh,
and circulate.
yeah.
So I mean that helps them last longer.
Uh-huh.
And it keeps the water cooler, but it still gets scummy dirty from them drinking. But
Yeah.
the copper, I haven't had a problem.
Interesting. I'm going to have to check that out. What kind of dog do you have?
A Great Pyrenees.
What's that?
A gigantic white fluffy dog.
Oh.
He's a mountain dog.
Yeah.
It's like, great in their name means
Yeah.
they're big.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And he belongs on the side of a mountain in the middle of a snowstorm.
Is he like rescuing people where he's got like
no,
the
he's
collar
not that
full of
guy.
like bourbon?
Bourbon? I love those dogs.
Yeah.
I want a dog with a collar full of bourbon.
There's one of those, St. Bernard.
St. Bernard
In my neighborhood, a guy
Those
walks
things are
it.
huge.
Yeah, it's huge. It's a
Yeah.
puppy, and the thing is probably waist high.
Yeah. Yeah, mine's big, but not that big. He's like 100 pounds. He stands up about as tall as me,
Wow.
and his fur is about 5 or 6 inches long.
Does he shed a lot?
Like sheds all over the place.
Oh man.
He's just a shedder. Yeah. But it's
Yeah.
okay. I mean, you see it though because it's so much and so big. But he needs the fur to keep cool and whatever. But
Does he swim?
he doesn't swim.
Oh, interesting.
I know. I couldn't grasp him. That I took him down to the lake and kind of dragged him in. We swam around the lake, but then he jumped right back out because he didn't want to be in the water. I'm like, if you got in the pool, you could cool off real quick. Not now, but
Yeah.
still, I mean, if he got out. But it's like
What's his name?
Moose.
Moose.
Moose,
That's
yeah.
a perfect, great Burmese dog.
He's a big moose. He's like, it's like got the nicest face and the loudest bark you've ever heard.
Really?
Oh yeah, you can hear him barking all the way down the street.
My
It's crazy.
brother, my younger brother, has 3 Great Danes, and
Wow.
those things are like
Those are big.
they're about 180 to 200 pounds each.
Yeah.
So he's got probably over 500 pounds of dog running through his house.
Yeah,
I can't imagine it.
that's a lot. I mean, my dog just
They got to poop
stands-
like brontosauruses.
poops all over the place. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, we could talk about poop all we wanted.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming out today,
All right, man.
Voss.
Insurance Bros.
Yeah, Insurance Bros number 19.
Number 19.
Thanks. Throw out your company.
Arizona Medicare Insurance Solutions and Red Mountain Funeral Home. If you have any questions, let me know.
Perfect. Casey Kendall, Prosperity North Advisors. My mission to protect your prosperity. Gilbert, Arizona. Commercial insurance the way you need it. Thanks very much, guys.
All right.